This is Daily Armenia, CivilNet's daily news digest. Here's what's making headlines in Armenia today. Armenian border guards detained 29-year-old Georgian citizen Georgi Kinoyani last week after he crossed into Armenia from Georgia, his family told Radio Free Europe's Georgian service. Kinoyani is wanted by Moscow for allegedly fighting against Russian forces in Ukraine and has been placed in 40-day extradition custody. The man's brother, Baku Kinoyani, said Georgi was first taken to a police station, then to a detention facility, before a court ordered his temporary custody on Friday pending possible extradition. The Kinoyani family fears that if extradited, Georgi could face inhumane or life-threatening treatment. Armenia has already notified the Russian authorities, giving Moscow 40 days to formally submit an extradition request. A court in Russian-occupied Donetsk issued an arrest warrant for Kinoyani in October 2024 on charges of mercenary activity, accusing him of fighting in Ukraine in the ranks of the Georgian Legion, a pro-Ukrainian volunteer unit that includes Georgian citizens also wanted by Moscow. Kinoyani's family has appealed to the government in Tbilisi, insisting that Georgia must not allow this and urging the authorities to secure his return. Georgian lawmakers said state institutions were monitoring the case, though they noted that Armenia and Russia maintain a bilateral extradition treaty that could complicate the outcome. Armenian human rights activist Artur Sakuns, head of the Vanadzor office of the Helsinki Citizens' Assembly, called the detention a dangerous precedent. He argued that Armenia risks legitimizing the ruling of an illegal court in Russian-occupied Donetsk, a Ukrainian region annexed by Russia in 2022. Yerevan does not recognize the annexation. This is simply a huge international scandal, Sakun said. He added that the officers who detained Kinoyani and the judge who ordered his custody should be removed from their posts for being complicit in political persecution. According to him, Armenia had previously granted asylum in similar cases, and his organization is now preparing to take over Kinoyani's defense. Since the start of the Ukraine war, Armenia has consistently refused to extradite Russian nationals sought on political charges. It remains unclear whether Yerevan will take the same stance in Kinoyani's case. The potential full signing of a peace agreement with Azerbaijan would have a huge impact on reducing Armenia's risk premium and attracting foreign investment, the country's central bank governor said today. Speaking in Parliament, Martin Galstian said that signals from international partners in recent weeks have been largely positive. He was responding to a question from lawmaker Babken Tunian about how the documents signed in Washington last month have influenced perceptions of Armenia's economic risk. In discussions with our partners, whether international organizations or commercial institutions, the feedback has been quite encouraging, Galstian said. He noted, however, that some uncertainty remains. While the Fitch Ratings agency has not revised Armenia's sovereign rating, it has issued a positive outlook, Galstian explained. Fitch, one of the big three global credit rating agencies, evaluates countries' ability to repay debt and their risk of default. Last month, the agency said a future peace deal between Armenia and Azerbaijan could improve ratings for both countries. However, Fitch cautioned that any agreement would be unlikely to immediately affect either country's creditworthiness. It also noted that, unlike Armenia, Azerbaijan's rating is constrained by weak governance metrics that a peace deal would not resolve. Armenia's current rating is BB-, below Azerbaijan's BBB-, which is considered stronger. Turning to macroeconomic trends, Galstian said the central bank may reassess Armenia's growth potential. Supporting strong growth in recent years, the bank has gradually lowered its key interest rate from 10.75% 2 years ago to 6.75% today. He explained that geopolitical risks previously kept the country's risk premium elevated, but those risks have now eased. This will also influence our policy decisions, he concluded. And finally, the CivilNet number of the day is 12,543. That's the number of electric vehicles imported to Armenia since the start of this year, according to the country's TV Channel 1. This is a 36% increase compared to the same period in 2024 and almost double the level of 2023, showing steady growth year by year. The rise in electric vehicles is mirrored by an increase in charging stations across the country. Armenia, which imports all of its fossil fuels and has no domestic refineries, has seen a notable boom in EV adoption. The government also supports this trend, providing an annual quota for several thousand electric cars that are exempt from import taxes. And as always, please follow CivilNet for the latest news and independent reporting from our contributors on the ground here in Armenia.